Here's a GRE quant comparison question. Let's take a look. The equation of a line in the xy coordinate plane is 4x minus 5y equals 3. And we want to know what's greater, the x-intercept of the line or the y-intercept of the line. Now, when we're doing coordinate geometry, it's important to understand both the visual representation of coordinate geometry, that is drawing a line in the xy coordinate plane, but also the algebraic expression of coordinate geometry, which is writing an equation like this. So to help us with this one, I'm just going to quickly sketch an xy coordinate plane. There's my x-axis and there's my y-axis. Now remember, the deal with this is that any point in this coordinate plane can be represented with an xy coordinate. So for instance, the point 1, 7 would be right there, right? The x value is 1, the y value is 7. Okay, now I have this equation, right? 4x minus 5y equals 3. And if I really wanted to take the time, I could rearrange this, figure out the slope, and then graph it for myself. But we don't actually need to do that because we can illustrate the principle very easily. If I have any line, I'm just going to draw a line that goes through the coordinate plane here, right? I have this line. This line will have an x-intercept, that is a point at which it crosses the x-axis, and a y-intercept, a point at which it crosses the y-axis. Now, this point, right, if we go back to our coordinates, this point has some x-coordinate. I don't know what it is, but what is the y-coordinate here? Well, it's 0. Right? Because it's right at the axis. There's no height at all. We just landed smack dab on the axis. So I could say that the value of this point is going to be x comma 0. And then conversely over here, right, the x value of this point is 0 because I haven't moved left or right, but the y value is something, right? So it's 0 comma y. Well, using this information, we can solve this problem. Because if we know that the x value at the y-intercept is 0, then we can just plug 0 in for x into this equation and figure out what the y-intercept is, right? So let's do that. If we do 4 times 0, if we plug in 0 for x to figure out what that y point is going to be, if we do 4 times 0, we get negative 5y equals 3, meaning that y equals negative 3 over 5. I just do that division right there. Right? So the y-intercept is negative 3/5. And then to figure out the x-intercept, I'm going to plug 0 in for y. So just do the exact opposite. I'll just rewrite this over here. What do we have? 4x minus 5y equals 3. So plug in 0 for y and see what we get. When I plug in 0 for y, that goes away. And I find that 4x equals 3. Divide both sides by 4. I find that x equals 3 over 4. Well, 3 over 4 is bigger than negative 3 over 5, which means that quantity, what were we finding here? The x-intercept, quantity A is greater than quantity B.